Yo, what's up guys? Perplex Ross here, bringing another video to you guys. It's been a long time. It's been a couple of months since my last video. It was a reaction video and it did some decent views, even though I don't really care about that. But I'm just gonna do a first time broadcast. I've been thinking about it for a while and to come back with YouTube. So as you guys didn't know, I'm part of a Konami, or what they say is K-Code. I'm basically a streamer for them, and with me today I've got another K-Code streamer. He does, Pez. He's a podcaster himself. He's got Twitch. He's got Twitch followers of 2,278, and he's got also Twitter followers of 1,878. He's from Birmingham, England. You'll find that out. Yeah, he's got a decent record on him. Do you want to say anything? We'll get right into it.
Mate, I'll happily introduce myself. My name is WezzaFC for those who are completely unaware, and I'm sure from across the channel maybe nobody knows who I am. So I'll kind of put it in context for you guys. So I am a Pez streamer. I'm a Pez podcaster with the PesUniverse podcast. I'm also a competitive Pez player. So I compete in different tournaments, and I do a spot of analysis on the side. Obviously, a massive thank you to Ross for having me on the channel.
I appreciate you for hopping on with me as well, and actually doing this with me, because I did ask other K-Code streamers if they wanted to, take part. I mean, we could have had like 2 or 3 more in right now just to do this, but obviously you stepped up and said you wanted to. He was a good guy.
Yeah, I'm always willing to get involved with anything. I just much like I am when I'm streaming. As you may know from being a YouTuber, you're quite a vain character, so you kind of like the sound of your own voice. So like anytime I get to talk, it's exactly where I'm coming from.
This is like, fair mind guys, it's my first time, so I'm gonna try and do my best with this. He's a really good podcaster. You should check him out. I'll put his YouTube or PesUniverse or wherever he podcast is on in the description down below. And if you want to check it,
get all the links for you.
Yeah, basically, even his Twitch, okay? Everything. All right, so you've done amazing achievements for yourself with Pez and everything like that, haven't you? You do Pez League and all that, yeah? Am I correct?
Yeah, so for those who are completely unaware, Pez League was formerly the esport of Pro Evolution Soccer. I kind of picked that up. I think it was around it was Pez 2016. I picked it back up after some years of not playing the game. I decided to pick it back up. Decided to get involved in the esports side of things, and found I wasn't too bad at it. Managed to qualify for a UK final in 2016. Didn't quite get through that final. So you go away, you lick your wounds, you piece together what went wrong, and you go again the following year. The following year, a little bit more successful. Got to qualify for a regional final after winning quite a nail biting penalty shootout in a playoff. So got to go to Barcelona, played at the Nou Camp.
How was that?
There's a long. Oh, it was a mad experience to be, in terms of the kind of the treatment of esports players. And I know that there's a lot of, there's a lot of talk around how esport players are treated. I'd like to think in Pez circles, there's that those players, we were treated like basically just like stars. We were treated as though we had, we just, we were going onto the actual pitch to play, not just the virtual one.
Cool.
It was it's been recorded by cameras, it was broadcast, it was lights, it was all different kinds of things that was going on. You got to meet some pro players that actually turned up unannounced. It was a bit mad. And over the course of all those different things that I've been doing, I stumbled across PesUniverse. I kind of I bumped into PesUniverse, and we've been on a pretty mad journey.
I'll get into 1 or 2 of those questions coming up for PesUniverse, so hold your tongue on that one. But you've done pretty well for yourself, I say. You've done a decent amount of job, that you've
for for sitting on your backside and playing a computer game. It's not bad when you get to go to different places and go and experience different things. And yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind.
Right. So this is my first question to you. What made you want to stream?
What made me want to stream?
In the first place?
Well, in terms of that, and again, this is kind of a bit of a shout out to a fellow Keiko member. So, round about 2015, 2016 time, I was working night shifts at my local Tesco before I obviously got a day job and came back to the land of the living. And I stumbled across this guy on Twitch. His name was PesUniverse.
Shout out to PesUniverse.
To PesUniverse. He's literally the godfather of Twitch in terms of Pes. And also on YouTube as well. He's got some great tutorial videos. He's got a lot of instructional information. If you're a brand new player to Pes, he's the go-to guy. He's the go-to guy. And basically I just stumbled into his stream just in the middle of the night. I'd be cooking dinners for our night crew at 3 a.m. and Sepp would be streaming, and I just stumbled in and then got into this world of going, oh well, when I'm playing, I can just broadcast. Like, this is weird. Why can't I do this? And I took it on and started doing it a little bit before night shifts, but as you know, it's probably not the greatest time to start streaming because you're gonna then go off to work.
Things to do.
You've just woken up. And so for me, it was a case that, once it became, once I kind of got involved in the culture of it and the community side of it, I really decided to give it a go 2016, 2017 time, because when you get accomplishments through Pes League and you're playing competitively and you get a bit of recognition, naturally people want to come and see you, they want to come and talk to you, they want to come and learn some stuff, and I segued then into a little bit of commentary as I just got bored one stream of listening to the regular old commentary, and I started to overlay my own stuff, which people tend to find quite impressive to watch.
I'm pretty impressed, dude. That's quite shocked me, to be honest. Are you ready for the next question? All right. Of course, yeah. How did you feel when you got to join K-Code? Like, what was that experience like for you? And how did it happen?
I remember exactly where I was, and it's one of those moments where you always remember where you were. So
I did as well.
For those UK viewers or listeners, you'll know of Birmingham, you'll know of the Bullring Shopping Centre, you'll know it's like the main hub. Yeah. So I was out shopping with affectionately, as I call her, Mrs. Wes. Was out shopping with Mrs. Wes. We were just about to sit down to a Ed's Diner, and I saw that Konami liked one of my tweets, and then Konami followed
big moment, that is.
To which I literally, to use wrestling terminology, I marked out in the middle of. I literally there just looking at my phone, clasping it. Mrs. Wes is like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm just like, "It's they've just followed me." And then I got the DM, and then it was just like, it was just wild because I just got into a group, and then it was like, it was just mad. Absolutely mad.
I tell you now, my experience of that as well. When I streamed, I'm still a Metal Gear Solid streamer myself. I don't like stream it anymore. Like, until they make a new game, I say, But when they text me or message me on Twitter saying, I applied basically. I said who I was, what I did, and how much I streamed or loved Pes or Metal Gear games in general. And they came up and give me the K-Code badge, and then after that they said, "Welcome to K-Code," or "Welcome to we saw a couple of your streams and we would like to have you aboard." I was shocked. I was screaming, Yeah. It's the same experience.
It's that recognition though. It's that like, if you're, like you said, if you're putting time, you're putting editing into your YouTube or your Twitch, and it's that validation that you've put that work and you've put that time in.
Hard.
And it's almost like you're getting like the gold star. You're kind of going, right, yep, we validate you as that streamer, and like you say, it is kind of it's an achievement, really, because if you get into streaming, you're getting acknowledged by a AAA games company of who make colossal games, and you're just like, oh wow, this is a bit
This is
mad.
it, yeah.
It is, and that's the only way. Madness is the only way I can really describe the journey that I've been on.
It's been a hell of a journey since then. What year did you join, by the way?
I joined, I believe it was halfway through PES 2017, so that'd be 2017, 2018 time. So, I've been knocking around for probably about a year or two. And it's, I try and get involved with extra live streams and the charity stuff that K-Code do.
They're good. They're always good to do.
And I just try and they're always great to do. You just put yourself about, because there's plenty of really good characters in there. There's plenty of really good people like yourself, like we've touched on about the podcast. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like you get opportunities that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Like this tonight, for example, is a complete random kind of opportunity that I never thought I would have.
It's I thank you for coming on this podcast, because without you on this podcast, it wouldn't be a first episode probably. When did you become co-host of PesUniverse, and why?
So to put this in its proper place, I am the co-host of the PesUniverse podcast.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to PesUniverse. Obviously, they're a colossal entity in terms of the PES community. There's and not to mention that there's plenty of other PES communities out there. They do a lot of work, obviously, with kit editing, with just providing a voice to the community. And how I got involved in that, I was a part of PesUniverse, I would say, since midway through PES 2016, I would say, or if not, it might have been the tail end of PES 2016. And there'd been many different iterations of the podcast, and there'd been some where we'd done a couple of episodes, and then it had just kind of died off a little bit. And it got to the start of this year, and I'd said to the Midnight Kid, who again another part of K-Code, but we were in conversation. I just said, well, what about a podcast? And he was like, well, we've done a podcast before. And I was like, well, do you know what? If we're going to do a podcast, let's stick to it, because we'd had it where we'd done a couple and then we'd left it. We'd done a couple and then we'd left it. And I said, well, why don't we give it a really good go? And this year has been, I think there's been the least amount in a month. I think we've had is two podcasts. So like every month or every week we tend to get one out on a Thursday, or we tend to get we have a range of different topics. We have what's going on in the community, what's going on in my club, what's going on in Master League, what's going on in different patches, real life football. We touched on some stuff about mental health, which is quite close to me.
To that as well.
And there's loads. There's loads of different things that we talk about, but ultimately it's all rooted within PES, and that's how we kind of came about wanting to put the podcast back together.
That's very interesting to hear, man. That's really good, that answer to my question there. Who is the actual who's the main person for PesUniverse? Because you're a co-host, right?
I'm the co-host. So. You have the Midnight Kid, who I would say is the kind of the face of it. There's many different people. There's so many people who make up the fabric of PesUniverse. So there's the likes of the True Brits, who's a YouTuber on PES, who lives in the States. You've got Carrasco, who's I'd probably say one of our best kit editors. There's Fadrian, who's another brilliant kit editor. There's Nemesis, who does my kits and has done my badges. You'll probably see it on the screen as you're watching this. There's loads of different people, and I think that's the best thing about PES PesUniverse is that there's so many different kind of people within it, and they all operate for the same goal essentially, which is we want to make it the best, and it's for the fans. It's not for us. There's a lot of misconceptions out there that you guys can make things. You guys get some kickbacks from this. It's no, actually, this is all. Anything that is done is for the sake of the people within the community.
That's what I mean. Like when I was streaming, I just wanted to stream just to, show the love. You know what I mean? So when I started getting people into my streams and they were chatting to me, it kept me going. It was just mad, to be honest. That's what it's for. When I did giveaways, then shout to Konami for giving those giveaways. most of us, who do streams and whatnot. Yeah, it's pretty much that's I do it
Yeah.
for. So on to the next question. Now this should be interesting as well. Since you're a Pro Evo streamer, what was your first Pro Evo game growing up? You'd say.
And I'm gonna make myself feel old, but also understand that there is. I had a hand-me-down SNES or Super Nintendo given to me. So my first touch of a Pro Evolution soccer game was international, as it was called at the time, International Superstar Soccer. On the Super Nintendo. Ooh. So I was like pretty old school, where Nintendo. You had Galfano, and you had loads of like fake names of players, but I always remember remember I think it was Colombia who had it was Carlos Valderrama, but they couldn't call him Carlos Valderrama, so they had this midfielder that just had this massive mound of hair behind him, and you knew it was him. You just knew it was him. That was my first glimpse of an ISS or a Pro Evolution soccer game.
Well, my first was it'd be no surprise because as me, I used to like play when I grew up. My first game was probably FIFA. Like, no offense. But my first PES game was probably 2016 or 17. I think it was one of those two. And then after that, then obviously I joined K-Code, and then Konami. I wanted to give them a go. You know what I mean? The recent ones are out now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I love PES more than FIFA. So I mean, I'm not really a football guy. I know that's a bit of a shock, but I did try and give it a go.
No,
but I would say PES is. What? Go on.
No, I was just going to say you're from the land of the rugby players, so of course football's not going to be your first love.
Because I'm Welsh. What motivates you to keep streaming on Twitch?
Oh, you see, now that's a tough one.
I got good questions.
And I think for me, it's wavered.
I could say one as well, but
somewhat in. Well, for me, it's wavered somewhat in the last 12 months. So I kind of went through a period of not really knowing whether I wanted to stream anymore, and kind of venturing into different games, and
it's hard.
And
it's hard.
It's hard. It is hard. You're quite right. It is hard to kind of to really kind of keep that motivation going. But I think if you've got content, or if you've got ideas that you can implement, so I have different kind of series ideas that I like to implement into my stream. So I've also got some IRL friends that are coming across to learn PES, which means that I've now got a new impetus to kind of play PES again.
You've got something to drive for.
So that all kind of So it's not like it's like I'm playing with my buddies, but then I'm also getting back into playing it like the same level that I was before, and I think that's going to keep me driven. And I think it's just a case of enjoying what you're doing. If you're enjoying what you're doing, that's it beats everything else. It really does.
I'd say I used to stream a lot. Like, I don't really stream. Like, I try to stream as much as I can when I have the chance, but I mean, sometimes I just be like, I don't want to stream today. I can't do it. Like, But like, it depends on what game I play. When it was this Metal Gear, I just streamed every day, and it used to like drain me. So after that, I just streamed something else. But then I don't know anymore. I'm a Friday streamer. I'm starting to feel like it now. So I just don't like want to stream like one game, and that's it really, or one. Because that's what I was thinking. Because Konami, I thought like you'd have to stream like Metal Gear, and that's it. So that's why I put my mind on. And then after that, once they said like, oh, you can stream as many games as you want, but just keep going back to that game back and forth. So I went, oh, okay, and then that was it really. I just did that, and then it grew off me. Then I started to go more towards I'll just stream any game, and if I go back to that game, I'll go back to Metal Gear, and that was that really.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like if you're enjoying a game, like I found it when I streamed. I have streamed a bit of FIFA this year. I've streamed Fortnite. Or I've streamed other games, that your audience may dip off, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine, so long as you're not driven by the number in the top right hand corner of how many viewers
No,
are
I don't
watching
care
you.
about that.
Then it's okay. Then it's okay then, because it's like, okay, well, I can stream this and I'm okay because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Granted, you'll get the questions in the chat of going, oh, well, why are you playing this for? It's like, well, because you know what, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I think people would be far more invested in a stream where they can see the streamer is enjoying the game they're playing, rather than a streamer that's going on going, oh well, I'm not really enjoying this, but I'm still gonna go through the motions. Like, I'm very much an all-in type of character.
Yeah.
I'm either gonna go in for it or I'm not gonna go at all. And I think having my friends that are now coming to play Pez has now given me that kind of drive to go, okay, I can go back to this and I can go and put some time into this, and I can create content with people that I know. So it's like it all kind of merges to one, and then that's going to give me something else to drive
that's
for.
what I mean. And like, if Konami hopefully get a new game, Metal Gear, out, or they do something beyond Metal Gear, then I'll stream it again. It's whenever a new game comes out, or I'll go back to the old games like I have. I do have a PS3 which is under my bed, but I haven't put it out since. I'll have to get other stuff to record, or get some gameplay on Twitch for it. But for the time being, I'm just gonna stream through my PS4. I did have an Elgato, but it broke, so I'm gonna have to get a new one soon. But
if you think about it from and again, this is kind of a message out there really to kind of stream it, or people who are thinking of streaming, or people who who are like, oh well, I haven't got all the kit for it, so I'm not quite sure if I want to go and stream it. Listen, I'm one guy I'm one guy who sits on his sofa, who streams through his PS4 with a camera and a controller and a Total Beach headset.
That's all you need,
Like, that's all you need. Literally, all you need is that, and just engage the people that come in. Like, even the people who lurk, like, I constantly say to people going, do you know what, thanks to everybody getting involved, and for the lurkers, thank you for just viewing. Like, it's cool. Like, if you want to come into my chat, if you want to, like, I always say this to my chat as well, if you just want to come in and just chill, like, that's fine. If you want to get involved, that's cool as well. Like, you can do either.
It's good.
Because of the way that I commentate over my gameplay, people could just leave me on in the background whilst they're making their dinner. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like they don't. I've had it said to me before that, like, they don't need to be looking at my stream to know what's going on. So it's like, well, exactly. You could just leave it on. It's like, it's basically like you're listening to the radio for like football commentary.
Yes, I mean, like,
it's quite easy.
I lurk most people's streams sometimes, and it's just one of those things that happens. But like, if you get bored of that stream, then it's not like I don't think it's the streamer's fault sometimes. It's just like, I just want to see other people stream sometimes.
No, if you're watching TV and you don't like what you're watching, you'll change the channel. It's not a, I don't personally take it offensively. If somebody says, oh, "Okay, I'm going now because I'm going to go and watch something else," it's like, okay, that's fine. Like, we'll be here when you get back.
That's true.
You can always think of what ifs and and what might happen. The truth is that you just play with the cards you've got in front of you. Yeah, that's it.
That was a really good conversation there on that question. When did you start podcasting, and what made you do it? Want to do it?
What made me want to do it?
When did you start, and what made you want to do it?
I think with the podcast as a regular thing, that started this year. So they started around about, I think it was July or
you haven't long ago then.
And haven't been long on it. But I think the main reasoning for it is that I think that with Pez and with the it started quite as like an information based kind of podcast, when the new news of the game is coming out, and these things are happening. So like E3's happening and Gamescom's happening, and it was quite an informational thing. So it was more a case of wanting to give your opinion in more than 280 characters, because I think sometimes and even through text you can't really tell a person's tone. It's not tonal. So I think having the podcast and being able to kind of flesh out those opinions and flesh out and even have kind of disagreements and discussions with the Midnight Kid, for example, or any of the guests that we've had on, you're able to have that kind of interaction, and it provides entertainment for people because people will come away and they'll listen to a podcast and go, actually, that was really interesting. Oh, I agree with person A. Oh, well, somebody else listened to it and agree with person B. It's just a source of entertainment, but it also gives you a platform to talk. And that, like I said at the beginning of this, we're any content creator, there's a touch of vanity in them where you're kind of like, oh, I like listening to the sound of my own voice, or that might just be me.
I mean, you love podcasts,
but
you love
you like to podcast, you like to stream, you like to create content, and ultimately you like to have your voice heard, and I think that was kind of the attraction for it. And like I said, I think to make the podcast regular, I think that was the main kind of draw was, let's do something that's regular. We can go through different bits of the news, and we can really kind of add some kind of colour to the community.
Yeah, that's fair enough, bro. That's really good. What are your goals for next year? I got one as well, but
what are my goals for next year? I tell you what, guys, Ross is coming up with some hard questions here because these are tough. My goals for the next year, I think, my charity streams. If for those who weren't aware, I did a 24-hour PES stream on the week of release for PES. Raised £800 for Samaritans. I'm looking to do another one of those around about March time. I think general goal, get into more casting in general. So I did a couple of analysis episodes or weekends, should I say, with eFootball.Pro. I'd love any opportunities to get into casting, and just to continue kind of creating content and just and just finding a bit more of a rhythm, and not really. I think from a competitive standpoint, I think if I have the facility to play, obviously I'd like to get to an offline event, but that is quite tricky, to kind of get to that level again. It's tough.
It's quite hard.
It really is. But it's not impossible. So you never know.
You got good goals there, then.
Well, there's a variety of goals. I'd like to obviously keep up with the podcast. I also write articles on the PesUniverse website. I'd like to get back into writing articles as well because I quite like doing them. And there's a whole bunch of goals there. But the key thing for me is that if I don't have any goals, I'm not working to something, and then ultimately you become demotivated. And I never want to get to that stage where I'm just demotivated with doing stuff.
That's what I mean. Like, if you don't set a goal for next year, you don't have a goal in general, then it's gonna lack. You're gonna lack in other things as well. Going into that,
definitely.
Like my goals for this year, I would say would probably be try and get more videos up on YouTube, or when I'm playing my game, at least stream, or try and get a stream going in there. I really don't know what else I would have, to be honest. I just see whatever happens, it happens, I say.
Got some general goals, and you never know, something might pop up that you might go, actually, I wasn't anticipating that, and that might be an opportunity for you.
Sorry, there's I guess like the podcast I'm doing now with you. It could be a goal for next year. It could be this is a new series. This is what I like to do, and then just get on with it. You know what I mean? Hopefully, get some more other K-Code podcasts on here, or maybe streamers.
I am sure they'll be chomping at the bit once they hear this. I'm sure they will be.
And hopefully get some more in. If you wanna see some of that, guys, make sure after you've seen this video, or before you see this video even, make sure you smash that like button. Also comment what was your favourite part of this. But we're not finished yet. I'm just saying, guys, beforehand, okay?
he's just getting his likes and subscribers in.
I mean, it's all about the likes and subscribers, guys, but it'd be appreciated. Alright, the next question for you. Alright. If you could pick your favourite PES game, what would it be and why?
I got you there, I'm gonna get roasted. No. I have mentioned this on previous PesUniverse podcasts, so it's fine. There was that's fine. There's a particular game mode that I quite liked. It was called Master League Online. So essentially, it was you basically you could grind towards getting new players. So you'd get a certain amount for winning a game. You could then sell like your most valuable player and then get somebody else like who's slightly higher. You could grind your way up. And I really, really enjoyed that game mode. I think the last iteration of it that had it was, I think it was PES 2013. But what really got me was PES 2011.
Ooh.
And that was only because I think FIFA was that bad that year that when I switched over to PES, I was like, wow, this is okay. I can deal with this. So I have very fond memories of PES 2011.
Did that grow you love PES more then, or did it?
Oh as I was growing up, PES was the game. It was the football game. FIFA kind of turned. I think it was around FIFA 9, FIFA 09, FIFA 10 that it turned, and that's where I kind of turned off PES and went onto FIFA. And like I said, I didn't really come back. I mean, I still played both games, but I never really played it to a level that I played 2016 through to 2020 as we are now. I never really got to that level playing it.
I got a question to get on with that. I mean, to put it on. What do you think about FIFA in general? Like, what do you think it's good? Or
I like the concept. Sorry, the concept. I like the content. I like the concept of football games. No, I like the content element in terms of the kind of the seasonal pass and the objectives they've got to go with them. Granted, I think the gameplay is still arcadey, but if you accept the game to be a separate entity from what PES is, then you can kind of get on with it a little bit. I do sometimes play weekend league. I do sometimes play clubs with my friends, and it's enjoyable. For me, at least, it's enjoyable. I think the interesting thing for me is that the FIFA community aren't happy with FIFA in terms of how FIFA is, and they're going, do you know what? This game's awful. Don't play it. And then there are some sections of the PES community that are like, this game's awful, please don't play it. And it's like, but then when one goes to play the other, which is the weird bit, when one goes to play the other, it's like, oh my god, you've got content. This is brilliant.
This is.
And then on the flip side of it, I've got my IRL pals who are now switching from FIFA over to PES, going, do you know what? I really like PES. I like the pace. I like how it's slower. It's a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit more skill based, and everyone's like, it's just like everyone's like it. It's almost like the opposite land. Everyone likes each other's games, and it's a bit strange. My brother's like, when you gonna give me a PES code, or when you gonna get me a game of PES? I'm like, this scare you know, you got money, you can buy it. It's like, well,
all right, this is like the last question. I forgot to get the question 10 in, but I'll probably just go on with it, I guess. But whatever you say next, I think. But all right, question 9. If you had to pick your favorite 3 football players in the world, like anyone, who would they be and why?
Okay, are we talking all time, or are we talking
anyone?
All time.
We could do both if you want. We could do both. It's up to you.
Well, okay, so if we're talking all time, and just because I always go from the era that I grew up in, so number 1 for me, Zinedine Zidane, without question, is the, and I'll go on record here, is the greatest midfielder that there's been. He's so... Watching him play, it's like watching a ballerina with a football. Honestly, honestly, the way that he moved around the pitch was absolutely brilliant. You've got the number 2, I would say, is R9.
R9.
You have Cristiano Ronaldo.
It's the other guy.
R9 Ronaldo as an all-time. He was so good and could just pancake defenses whenever he wanted.
Good guy.
And third one.
I was expecting you to say like either Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, but that's good. At least you didn't say that.
Yeah, and I'd say the last one. I would say is a Real Madrid striker.
Oh, go on. Oh.
Just for longevity. Okay. So he had, I think he had the record. He held the record at one point for most Champions League goals. Was just absolutely fantastic as a goal scorer. If you're talking currently now, obviously Messi, Ronaldo are just there. They just have an automatic spot on their own.
We could maybe talk. We could maybe talk about those 2 football players if you like as well. Also after what you've got to say.
Yeah, definitely. And then I'd say the third one, who is, I would say he's up and coming.
Yeah.
And I didn't really believe the hype until I really saw him play. Is Kylian Mbappe.
Mbappe, yeah.
He's so quick.
The French guy.
He's so quick across the ground. He's so lethal. Yeah. And the reason, and for those wondering, going, oh, why didn't he put Messi, Ronaldo in all time?
Yeah.
For me, Ronaldo and Messi won't be appreciated properly until they retire.
When do you think that's gonna be? You reckon? Because they both obviously. I think Messi's older than Ronaldo, I believe, or is it the other?
Yeah, I think Messi is. No, I think Ronaldo's 34. Messi 30. I think he's like 32, 33. But looking at it, Ronaldo looks like he's got the body of a 22-year-old.
Crazy, isn't it?
Messi doesn't. Messi looks like he could easily go into a set. He could easily do what who did it later into their career? A well-known player that sunk back into a different position. That was it when Ryan Giggs moved from like left mid to centre midfield. You know, he could easily go. Oh, do you know what? I'm just going to play in centre midfield.
Yeah,
fellow
Welshman as well. Believe it or not.
Fellow Welshman. And Ronaldo, I just think he's just genetically. I can't even say genetically because he worked
crazy,
really hard.
Yeah. It's like I think he's clever what he's done. Yeah. He's actually.
I think he's like Dorian Gray. He's got a picture of himself in the attic somewhere that's just aging horribly.
Yeah, he's done pretty well himself. Obviously both players have, but physic wise, you know what I mean. Like Ronaldo's he knows what he's done. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I think for me, and like I said, we won't fully appreciate them until they've retired. When they do, I think they'll just the two of them will just go down as the greatest players that have ever played. I don't think there'll ever be. I don't even think there'll be a question of that.
I think in terms of this generation of my generation or your generation and whatnot. I don't obviously Ronaldo was he started for Man U, didn't he? So since then he's done pretty well for himself. He went to Real Madrid, and then obviously WezzaFC. He's done pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, he's done pretty well. I mean, pretty well is an understatement. To go to Juve and have the impact he's had there, and and I know a lot of people make the criticism of Messi of going, oh well, he hasn't really gone to any other countries, and could he do it on a cold, rainy night in Stoke? It's it's irrespective when you're seeing the quality of the man and what he can do. I don't really think that's an issue anymore. I know that some people, Ronaldo went to other countries, that makes him better. It's you have to look at the overall picture of what has, because Messi's been a mainstay in that Barcelona side since the days of Samuel Eto'o, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and Ronaldinho. He's been a mainstay.
He's been in Barcelona for all his life, isn't he? Pretty much.
There's an infamous quote where he said he'd never leave Barcelona because without him or without them, he wouldn't have been a footballer because they paid for his hormone treatment when he was younger. So Messi actually has I think he has some type of genetic
mind, he is
disorder.
A small player.
And that was it. He was small, but they could see the potential in him, so they paid for it, kind of the hormone treatment just to get him to the right size. And away they go. Oh, yeah, I think it did.
I think it did. He got a lot taller than he was when he was a teen. Say for instance.
Yeah.
And then Ronaldo was just this guy who was just perfect to when he started for Man U in his first game. I remember I watched it on YouTube not long ago, and it was his first game for Man U, and he just showed his talent straight off the bat at a young age.
Yeah, he used to love a trick, and then I think he realised that he could do far more than tricks, and then that was it. I mean, when he started out with Sporting, these kind of his frosted tips, and most of the English didn't like him because Portugal kept knocking us out of tournaments. But he was phenomenal. And even I think 25, 26-year-old Ronaldo, he was just a phenom. And he still is. He still is. If you're throwing bicycle kicks where you're 2 meters up in the air,
that's flexible as well.
At the age of 30 or 31, and you're just jumping through the air. It's and
crazy. He got up and just ran off it sounded like nothing. It was nothing.
It's ran off like it was nothing. The opposition fans were clapping him for the fact of how good the goal was.
He just gained some new fans there.
Just do that if I wanted. Yeah.
That's what I mean. You cannot hate Ronaldo, All right, guys. This has been my first podcast, of course. So I hope you guys all enjoyed it. We talked about pretty much everything, and everything about this guy here, WezzaFC. How do you feel it went? How do you feel this is good?
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it, man. You know, it's been great to obviously finally
Thank you,
talk
man.
to you since you've been part of
Yeah,
K Code, and obviously it's quite enjoyable coming to do the
I'm
podcast.
so glad that we actually had this podcast now. Like, I didn't think it was going to happen today, you know what I mean? Because, times and
Yeah.
plans and change and all this stuff. And, it just happens. But yeah, guys, if you want to see some more podcasts just like this one, make sure you smash that like button. And also, like I said earlier, subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. And I don't really care, but if you would like to do it, feel free. But yeah, guys, it's been your boy, Perplex Ross. And we are signing out. Peace.